Hi everybody, and welcome back to Rich Social Worker. This is Eva Ford, and you're on a walk with me today. I know today's video is a little bit different, but I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the things that I've done in the past year to help me be really very productive, actually. So the last year was a really good year. It's now 2020. And if you're watching this now, Happy New Year. If if you're watching this in the future, that's fine. Let me know in the comments. But 2019 was probably one of the most successful years I've had, just in terms of achievements and productivity. And I also had some, I should say, it's not that I didn't have setbacks, but whereas I think in years gone by, I might have, had setbacks that really set me back. This year, because I had some processes and things in place, I was able to keep moving forward. So, a few things. And I can't say in any particular order because I think they're all extremely profound in their own way. But just like I'm doing right now, I'm walking. It's a gorgeous morning. You hear the roosters in the back. And every morning, for the most part, about 6 a.m., I'm up walking. And that has had a profound impact on my mindset. So whereas before I might have, like I said, had a setback and been set back, walking, and could be any form of exercise, that's just mine, but at least a half an hour. And I'll tell you what happened to make that a reality for me, or make that something that really stuck with me and got into my cells and out of my head, because I've wanted to exercise and incorporate some form of exercise for years, and I've just never been able to get myself to do it. But early in the year, I had a bit of a disappointment in life, and it took me down for several weeks. But a friend of mine invited me to walk with her, and after about 30 minutes of not even brisk walking, just kind of, keeping a general pace, keeping up a good pace. After about a half hour, I felt this burden that had been on my heart and felt like it was on my shoulders. I felt it lift. I felt the brain fog lift. And I immediately was like, wait a minute. You mean I can think? I'm not clouded by this thing in my space, in my energy space. And it was just so liberating. It was so freeing that I immediately kind of got addicted, and I've been walking ever since. I maybe have missed a couple days, but I can tell immediately when I haven't walked or done some form of physical exercise for at least a half hour. For me, I'm not as productive. I'm not as focused. It's difficult to stay on task. And so I do this just for my mental health first thing. I started getting up around 4 in the morning. And I know not everybody wants to get up at 4 in the morning. For someone like me, I can be a night owl. I can be an early bird. I just need to make sure I get to sleep. So my process started because I wanted to start to get up early. And I was going to bed at like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and that didn't work. So my step one had to be figuring out what time I need to go to sleep, not just be in bed, but be asleep, so that I can wake up early enough so that I can have that quiet time, so that when 6 o'clock comes around, I'm out the door, shoes on, walking. So that was kind of an epiphany for me. Just a paradigm shift for me as it relates to wanting to get up early, making sure I'm in bed and giving myself enough time to wind down and be asleep at a decent time. Now, another thing that has been huge for my productivity and my progress this year has been, well, last year, was getting a planner, a physical planner. Now, I've tried for years, I think, unsuccessfully, and maybe even not too deliberately, but to work with an online scheduler, Google Calendar, and all these other things, which are great. But in order for me to plan and stay on task and stay focused and set my intentions and get clear, I have needed a planner. So I found the perfect planner for me, and it's called Live with Purpose Planner. Now, these people are not sponsoring this. They're not endorsing me in any way, but this planner has really transformed my life. And it's transformed my life, I think, for a few reasons. So there's some really high statistic about how many successful people actually write down their goals and write down their visions, and then, set deadlines, and statistics on how successful they are, their success practices, and what they do in terms of filling up each hour of the day or each minute. But they really compartmentalize their activities during the day, so they're not just left with a lot of free time. And I think that, for me, has been so good to know. And so what this calendar does is it's got several things that I love. So in the beginning, it asks you, it invites you and teaches you how to create a mind map for, the areas of your life that you want to work on. It talks about, how to create a vision and a plan for your life. And then at the beginning of each month, it asks you, what are your goals for the month? And it asks you to review last month. What went well? What didn't go well? What are you going to change? Are you still focused on the goals that you said? And then each week, it asks you, to identify what's your major intention for the week. And then at the end of the week, it gives you a scale of 1 to 10 so that you can rate yourself on how successful you were in accomplishing your goals for the week. So I found that just to be so rewarding. And it also, has space in there. So it goes, I think, from 6 in the morning to like 11 o'clock at night. As I said, I started around 4. So my schedule starts about that time, and I schedule in meditation. I schedule in walking. I schedule in crucial conversations that I need to have. I schedule in if I need to prep for a meal or something like that. I schedule in things that others might take for granted, especially if I know I've got some important things to do. I schedule those maybe minute things in or routine things in because it gives me a better idea of how much time I have to play with. And time is something that, again, if we're talking about being productive, we're intrinsically talking about how we're using our time. One of the things that has been so beneficial for me this year as well is I have a few accountability partners, and we're dreaming big. And we're keeping each other accountable for our big goals. And that's just been so helpful and so encouraging. And so if you don't have a group of people, or at least one person that you are sharing your goals with, or that's challenging you to have goals and to think bigger and helping you to really reach those goals and keeping you accountable. If you don't have that person or those people in your life, highly recommend you get them. These are people that are rooting for you. These are people that care about your well-being, and you in turn offer the same validation and care to them. Another thing I didn't mention is I've stayed motivated, and not necessarily intrinsically, but I've used any kind of tool I can to stay motivated. So sometimes I'll listen to like a motivational video, I've read or listened to The Science of Getting Rich several times this year, and that's motivating to me. But yeah, anything that you can do. It might be an upbeat song. It might be, you know, looking at your goals every day, which I do every day as well. But anything you need to do to stay motivated, really do it. All right, guys, that's it for me. But let me know in the comments what you think about this video. Have you tried any of those productivity tips yourself? Did you learn anything new? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks so much for being here. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all the things. But before I go, just look at the scenery, guys. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so beautiful.